Welcome back. In case you're just joining us, this is the press, and we're reaching you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. Now I've been joined by our guest, Dr. Suleiman Abdullahi, to help us analyze and some of the stories we just read out to you. You're welcome to the studio, sir.
It's a pleasure between one.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mr. Francis. How are you?
Very well. And you?
Yes, very great.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure to have you in the studio.
It's a pleasure once again being with you.
All right. There's quite a number of stories on all of the headlines we've just read out this morning, but one recurring one that has kept on, on most of our papers is the outrage over the delegates that attended COP28 summit. There's been conversations like on the Daily Trust says outrage over Nigeria's 1,411 delegates on COP28 summit. Now Tinubu's article is talking now, says Tinubu has turned climate change conference to Olamide. That's coming from Vice President Atiku, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. And then Peter Obi, the Labour Party presidential candidate, also saying it's a waste of resources. And quite a number of people speaking, and the presidency coming out to say that government only funded about 100%. So the remaining 1,000 and more people that actually went with them actually went from other sources of funds. Now, what do you make of this, judging by the fact that, like Francis actually said before we came on board, this summit, people keep attending summit upon summit. We don't know the impact it truly has on Nigeria or Africa at large. And now looking at the delegates, and we talk about cutting cost of governance on one side. So where is all of this panning to, in your opinion?
If you look at the COP28, it's on climate change. I've been following the trend of the COP since the Paris Agreement among nations. That was COP 19, if I'm not mistaken, or 20. You see, the large number of people, if they are not being sponsored by government, it doesn't matter, because I'm from the academia. If you are talking about climate change, it has to do with every aspect of human existence. So if you are talking of looking at it, the large number of people that are there, I'm fine if they are there for a specific reason, because most of the agencies we have in Nigeria need to be there. From the medical line, the scientists, the technologies, the automobile industries, even the oil and gas industry. Then the academias have to be there. If every university have to sponsor maybe a lecturer or a researcher to attend, you should know that the number will really increase. How many universities do we have? We have more than 300 universities today in Nigeria, both private and government. So what are we saying? So I think if they are there for a specific reason, everybody want to feel the impact direct. Because it's no longer, look, somebody has brought us maybe the story, where will you copy it from internet or this and that. We want to be there and participate directly and have the impulse of what has actually taken place. But if they are being sponsored by government, whereby we are talking of palliative measures, we are still looking at areas that need to be improving economic and standard of living in Nigeria, I think it's a waste of money. You're talking of over 800 million naira, close to 1 billion. So what are we saying? That will give us a very good road if you are talking of about 100 kilometers of road with 1 billion. So what are we saying? So I think if they have sponsored too much, up to 1,400, it's a waste of money, but from the government, because you can have a theme of, let me say, even if 10, 20 people are there. So whatever information you have, you got to come set up a committee, then you have a report, then send your report to all of these agencies, government agencies. So you don't need such a crowd. If they are being sponsored by the government, you don't need it. For the first thing I will tell you, if the government sponsor from the federal level sponsor this large number of people to this COP28 in Dubai, is not acceptable. It's waste of resources, and that shows the government have not sense of direction. Because for now, if you are talking of 1,400, you understand now, what are they doing? We need to tell people, okay, if they're from the government side, because after the conference, whatever is the deliberation, the outcome, what matters is the outcome. Every nation gives their report as far as it's concerned. How do you align all this report with what has taken place in Nigeria over the years? You look at it together. This is the report, this is information from other countries, these are our information, these are observations, you understand, and these are recommendations. So these are action plans. One booklet is okay, you send it to all ministries, all
departments and agencies.
Yes, you send to the state government. So why do you need to be there? It's waste of money.
Okay, very quickly, Doctor, you answered the question I was intending to ask even before I brought it up, talking about if the 1,114 delegates was even necessary in the first place, and you responded by saying that the departments, agencies, and all the other sectors, they need to be represented, provided they will be funded from, they will be independently funded.
Yes.
However, you talked about the fact that you have closely monitored the COP since the Paris Agreement, that is, since the COP19. What can you put out as what can you tell Nigerians that since you started paying close attention to this, that this has been a direct impact it has had on Nigeria? This has been the impact it has had on Nigerians, because we're talking about climate change. Let's take a look at the 2024 proposed budget that the president just presented to the National Assembly. About 90% of it will be funded by crude oil. It is largely dependent on the forex we're going to be getting from crude oil. And we're talking about climate change. We all know crude oil and fossil fuel contributes a lot to. So what can you put all these pieces together, and maybe we can get a headway from it?
You see, let me tell you, all about COP 20, since from 29 up to 28 is about what? About the climate change, the global warming, temperature control, and how do you bring it under normal control so that the lifespans of every average citizen, across their country respectively, could have a better life. That is it. Then we look at also the automobile industry that are really in the industrial nations that are really in production. We'll look at all the gases, the emissions, how do you bring them under control that are harmful to human beings. We'll look at it, how do you control them. I think I attended in 2006 what they call it, Michelin Bibedium. I attended in Paris. In that we discovered as what we call hybrid machine and hybrid fuel. That if you look at it, the premium spirit, it will just look like water. And if the cars are using it, you hardly feel any emission out of the car. So what we are saying, look, the engines are made environmental friendly, and even the premium spirit are made to be environment friendly. So all these are our kind of hybrid refining of product from the crude oil and everything. We are also looking at what deforestation that is taking place. How can we curb it so that people should stop burning the forest? The natural ecological system should not be tampered with, because they help what in exercising the fresh the fresh air we need. You understand now? That is one aspect of it. And again, this ecological system or hemisphere, you look at it, it helps seriously in absorbing whatever we send into the atmosphere. You understand now? Bringing a natural one that the human system needed biologically and chemically to sustain most of these, let me tell you, most of these viruses, cancers you are seeing now are product of these byproducts. So now the impact is a lot. If you look at it all in all, coming back to your question, is that up to today, I have not seen a concrete impact of all these COPCs from the beginning up to now. Because what we are still feeling, what I have felt out of it is what is about academia, academic exercise.
Academic purpose.
Yes, you see people doing research on climate change, research on ecological system, research on flood issues. Up to today, what are the measures? They came back with good research and good report, but look at the report recommendation and the committee that needed this report to work with are not being practically on the field. They are not practical there.
Maybe most people actually go out there for some of these works and researches for their own benefits, to ensure that they actually develop themselves, but not to look at the benefit of the whole country at large.
Let's look at it, please. To any outing, any human being, any institution, why are they being established is for humanity. It's either to protect human being or to protect environment. That is it. These are the two fundamental reasons: environment and human being. So these two things work together: the environment and human being. When we are talking of climate change has to do with everything that has to do with the environment and human being. So even the issue of toilet open defecation is about climate change.
Definitely.
Understand now? So we are talking about refinery will be working. What about what will be the emission, the burn of the byproduct or the refined product? And how do we do it? How do we convert it into gas? Look, liquefied natural gas for people to be used. You know, all these aspects, since all these years that we have been attending this COP, what have the federal government gotten out of it? What have we achieved? What impact? So the impact is still on papers. The impact, look, there's new idea from the developed country, advanced country, but as developing country, we have not taken advantage of leverage or on it. What will baffle me more, that will disturb me most on this aspect, is that, look, after 10 years, you see, foreign donors will tell you we have spent so billion on what? On developed nations, Nigeria, Ghana, and we have not felt the impact of anything.
That's exactly where I am heading to right now. If we look at the top countries that have contributed to the kind of the decrease in the environmental and the climatic factors, we look at the countries. Top on the list is China, because of their factories and every other thing. We have Germany, we have United States, we have the United Kingdom, we have France. But we look at these countries. Compared to Africa. Africa suffers the most. Africa bears the most brunt for all of this. You go to a country like China, the amount of gas carbon emission is quite under control. But if you look at countries like Africa. If you look at countries like Africa, we get to see Saudi Africa Summit, Indian African Summit, European African Summit, and after everything, we get to see X amount of grants has been given to pilot the climate advocacy. Sometimes I see the whole thing as more like greenwashing, whereby you are doing something else, you are doing something else, and you are trying to project another image. So, can we pin this down on leadership in terms on leadership on the African governments? Is it that they have not been up and doing enough, or is it that they do not have the required amount of information to be able to because if you are going into a negotiation, what you come out with in the negotiation is dependent on the amount of information that you have. So is it that they do not have the required level of information, or is it that they have this information and they just do not want to do anything about it?
If you look at this issue, you brought us to the issue of leadership in Africa. Let me tell African countries, if some of our leaders refuses to be responsible, because if our leaders are responsible, don't you have professors, researchers, technocrats? You have these people.
Scientists.
You have people that have reached the peak of what? Of their pursuits in life. They have reached the apex of their achievement in various fields of life. Then what are we saying? We are now in the era of ICT. It is a global system, global village, whereby today I can discuss even with the president of China, if what I discuss with him is reasonable, that will be effective and will be constructive to his nation. I'm telling you, I can speak with him. There is the procedure.
Definitely.
So what are we saying? It is not information. Today we have every information at the tip of our fingers. But what do they do with the information? You send over 1,400 delegates to see OP28. When they come back, what do they want to do out of it? What have you gotten out of it? Up till now, we are talking the other alternative to source of what? Of energy. Like we are saying, look, stop deforestation, stop cutting down the trees. Let's plant more trees. So even these trees that are being cut down, what do they use them for? Is for what? For local consumption, cooking.
Definitely.
They convert all these trees to coal, and people buy them and use it for as a source of energy. Then now you are buying a liquefied gas for 1,000 plus per kg. Then how many people can afford it in Nigeria? What are the alternative means to what you are saying? How can you achieve all this possible? We are talking about global warming, and let me tell you, this is just, we are still in December, an early week of December. If you look at the temperature today, is above 30. It should be 30, 31. Let me tell you, all these are effect of what? We have more vehicles, cars coming into Abuja. We have more people, opening more restaurants. We have people that are using, cutting down the trees all over the place, using them for what? Domestic use, green emissions. So all we are reducing the greener pastures that are supposed to help the what? Reduce the temperature, the warming of the global warming of Nigerian weather. So now what we are saying is that, look, the government are not up to their responsibility in terms of all these aspects. Number one, what are the measures have they put in place? Even the sensitization, enlightenment on what? On measures to achieve progress, information. 25% have not achieved it.
Doctor, please give us a second. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, you're welcome to the press. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Okay, my name is Chris John. I'm calling from Nasarawa State.
All right, thank you, Chris John. Please go ahead and join the conversation.
Yes, what I want to really say is that we are not managing the economy of this country.
Okay.
We are not managing the economy of this country well. We should be very scientific in our approach. For instance, you will observe that the world is becoming a global economy. The Nigerian budget should also follow that trend. The budget of Nigeria should be a world-class budget. You understand that emphasizes development from the happenings globally. Nigeria should be thinking globally and acting locally. You understand?
Absolutely.
This is signing agreements for investors to come into Nigeria and with commitment to funding. The question will be, are these fundings provided for in the Appropriation Act, or where are these fundings going to come? We are not doing things in the standard way. We are not doing things in a scientific way. We are just trying to just be good boys to the president, just to press him. All of us love the president. There's no doubt that we have a good president. But what is worth doing is worth doing well. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much for your contribution. So, Doctor, I'd like you to round up on your thoughts.
Yeah, let me tell you, there is a lot of companies, giant companies in Nigeria that suppose, I'm coming to going back to a question.
Of course, yes, before you comment on this, yeah.
Seriously to our budget, and also we help in this issue of global warming. You have countries like Julius Berger, you have Shell, LNG, all these companies are there. And these companies use heavy machines, and this causes over 75% of the global warming. So what is Nigerian government doing to have a serious take with these companies? Call them, let's look at your activities. Your primary environment, what effect did you have on them when it comes to global warming and ecological system management? Did you have a department for that? If you don't have one, why? And let's look at it. What is the government getting from you? Because government expenses, all these things come from government pocket. Then what type of tax is government getting from this company? Because let me tell you, the water they use is from Nigeria. The quarries where they crush the stones is from Nigeria. All this thing, the byproduct goes back to the atmosphere, goes back to the environment, to cities in one way or the other, and it has serious ecological impact. It has serious health impact on the citizens. So what will you do? You look at is how do you tax them, and this money should contribute to the budget of this country, and this budget, what you get from this aspect should go to research and go to the health sector, because the people will go back to the hospital to look for one drugs or the other. So this is it. So I think the government should be up doing and live up to the expectation as far as this issue of global warming is concerned, and the stakeholders are there, and let them bring everybody, particularly these companies, let them be up and doing and show us, look, we are up to expectation when it comes to what COP recommendations and action plans.
Okay, now part of the agitation for this trip is that PDP is calling the National Assembly out and telling them to probe the ESTA codes given to the government officials. Do you see reasons why this should happen?
Let me tell you, it doesn't what all those
it doesn't hold water.
Yes, at all, because I don't want to bring petty political issues into serious government.
So technically, it's more like PDP are just trying to. They are just trying to play their role as the opposition party. Enough said about the CEO.
Apologies, I don't want us to miss out what the caller actually said. You know, he was talking about the appropriation bill, and he was talking about some of the funds that are coming into the nation, and also talking about the budget that we actually plan for our country. Now, there's something I actually saw. I saw that Nigeria's budget is about $33 billion for 200 million population. That's on the average, because we don't know our current population, but we just want to put it on 200 million.
That's about $165 per head.
So, and then South Africa, I'm comparing with other climes. South Africa has $132 billion as their budgets for 59.3 million people. And now Algeria has $98 billion for 44 million people. Egypt has $97 billion for 109 million people. This is within Africa. Now, how do you juxtapose this for our current population with this kind of budget? Where are we going to be heading anywhere? And that's, I feel like maybe we're not making any headway. What's your take on this compared to other African countries? And we are supposed to be the giant of Africa.
Let me tell you, is that still yet it goes back to the government are not putting the right peg in the right holes. You see, our main source of budgetary financing come from the oil industry sector. That's the crude oil. Whatever happens with the crude oil affects the decision of the government, every sector. You understand now? That is why today Nigerians still remain a weak nation. You don't depend on one source of what? Of existence. And if the whole world, the whole automobile industry, the whole the advanced country can look, we are no longer interested, we want to reduce the consumption, and it's still going on, of crude oil in every aspect of our industry to 25%. From 100%, 25% now, because our source of energy give them 25%. So it's 75% now, and they want to reduce it to 25%. Now we are seeing generators that doesn't use fuel. We are seeing cars using electricity. Are using solar energy and other sorts of energy. So now nations are shifting. We are seeing unmanned drones that doesn't use the conventional engine that take fuel. And we are looking at nuclear energy and other sort of energy direct, solid power energy. So what are we saying here is that, look, the nation, the federal government now should be looking at alternative source of what? Of income. As what? When it comes to budget, our annual budget, our spending, everything. And what do you go back to the international market with as a product, apart from oil? So the issue of, look, we should now look at other aspects, particularly, let me tell you, with our number, our population, we have the market, we have the human capacity, we have the human capital, we have everything. Let me tell you, let's go back to agriculture.
But this talking about let's go back to agriculture, the former administration actually went into agriculture, and we know how much there was.
Sorry. those are fanfares.
Oh, okay.
Look, those are fanfares.
What do you mean by
friends.
fanfare?
Yeah, when you bring money, you give to friends and associates that will come back in the evening and have party and enjoy with you in your house and tell you thank you and give you, buy gifts and give it to you and give awards and go back and sleep. And you could not even get the money back, 25% of the money of these loans back, and you don't have the effect on society. What are you saying? It's rubbish. Look, let me tell you, if we are really serious, we want to change the life of people in Nigeria, and we want to shift, we have a paradigm shift from what? From this crude oil issue to agricultural capital base that the world is saying, we need to feed ourselves. We need to look at how do we feed other African countries. This is how you stop importation. You don't even need policy to stop importations. Because if you have excess food, you give to your neighbors, you give to your friends and associates, then you don't need to tell them that, no, don't give me food. They'll be looking up to you like something coming from a place continuously. So this is what we are saying. Look, every state, federal government, you want to empower state to concentrate on agriculture, there is what we call competitive edge.
Okay.
You understand now? Look at the 36 states of Nigeria. Bring the governors together. Kogi State, for example, what can you give us that you can produce best? Kano State, what can you, just one product.
Just one product.
One product. We know Kano in 70s to early 80s with what? With granite pyramid. One product, my brother. Just one product. Niger State, what product are you giving us? Look, the first investment of this year, look, we are giving you 1 billion naira. That's 36 billion naira. You understand now? Invest, let's fill it from what? Direct to the grassroots. Channel it from the state level to capital to local government, and let's see it, all the councillors, let's see the impact on the grassroots. And at the end of the day, we are not trying to get 1 billion from you. Let's see the product.
Let's see the product.
The product.
All right, now our time is fast spent, but very quickly, in 2 minutes, I would like you to react still on the 2024 budget as presented by the President of the Federal Republic. This headline here says, Senate House ready to pass budget 2024 before December 31. This is a little over less than 30 days from now, and within this period we are going to have the lawmakers screening the ministers. They are going to screen the ministers to defend their budgets, the heads of agencies, security chiefs. Do you think this time frame is enough to properly scrutinize this very budget? A budget that a lot of Nigerians, a lot of experts are already saying that it's quite small for our population. It's quite small for over 220 million Nigerians. So that we do not end up in the same issues we've had in the years before now, the issues of budget padding.
Let's say it all together. The issue of National Assembly passing the budget is a normal routine, annual routine. So to me, there's nothing special about it. They are doing their duty, responsibility, and not anything special about it. The budget, the breakdown, how do we make impact? What is the source of our government? We have discussed the source of budget, what is the source of financing the budget? How do we get them? Understand now? How do you avoid budget deficit? All these things are there. Then look at the microeconomy and macroeconomy. How do you improve them? How do you look at the common the common man on the street? How do you ensure that, look, you have access to 3 square meals a day, primary health facilities? This is what we are saying. How do the Nigerians get access to what? To good primary education in Nigeria that will make them better citizens? Look, the issue of security is not just the security. It has to go down to it has to go down to every doorstep of every Nigeria. How? Look, if you are well informed, in the primary school, secondary school, they tell you about security, you have to be security conscious. And you must know that, look, this is the security aspect, this is what we are in security. The same thing when it comes to agriculture, waste of what? Of food resources, everything. By the time you train a child in his primary secondary school about wasting of what? Federal resources, we're expecting federal government institutions, we're expecting government assets. That shows you are having a good system. But these things are not there. All these things we continue to say is, look, having budget. We don't have good roads today. Look at, since 2006, Nigeria will have been spending billions of naira just to construct from Abuja to Lokoja Road. Look at it, 4 years now down the road, Kaduna Abuja Road is still ongoing. You understand now? Look at it, express road. Look at the second Niger bridge. How many years? What are we talking? Are we out of our senses? Have we forgotten that, look, people are really seeing us, are watching us, that people are reading us? What we are saying that, look, we are not doing the right thing. And why are people with this thing? This thing goes down to corruption. Because our source of income is always the crude oil. Everybody is looking up to that crude oil. Why don't we diversify it? We have what we call a good and we call multiple stream of income for individuals. Why can't we apply it at the federal level, at the state level? Let's have multiple stream of income. No matter how small, let's have a look. Let me tell you, we don't have time. When I was working, there's what we call like the government created one ministry of a special project. Special project is for you to think out of the box and give us other alternative means or other money of solving problem. What is the ministry of special project doing? You need people that are sound, that are really, you need people that are capable in brainstorming and giving you solution to problems within the twinkle of an eye.
Looking at creating some of these departments and ministries, do you really think that we need to create more, or we need to look within and look how to source information?
Beautiful ideas now could only be achieved with people that really have beautiful work, thinking and are creative in their thinking. You can't bring mediocre and just say, look, I hand over this ministry to you. What do you get out of it? What do you get out of it? Look, let me tell you, if you any government policy, if I'm designing a government policy now, I will tell you, for example, this is what we can use as an alternative to get alternative sort of financial budget. Fine. Then how do you go about it? The questions that you have to you have to answer: how, when, where, and who are going to be involved. Solve all these problems. Then how do you protect it? You understand now? How do you protect the people? Then who are going to be the key stakeholders? Bring people that are really intelligent, that are, look, if they are talking, they know they are talking. If they are preventing the people who know that these people are really talking, not people that are going to come and mess up themselves. We need people that will take a cup of coffee and work from morning till 12 o'clock without taking lunch.
Maybe our biggest problem is monitoring and evaluation.
When it comes to monitoring and evaluation, when you start to compromise, what do? You have consultant A, consultant B, consultant C, here and there, consultant for everything. Then what is the main man doing? People are going to work and put all our knowledge to work.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. That's a very good place to leave it. Dr. Suleiman Abdullahi, Public Affairs Analyst. We really appreciate your time today on The Press.
Thank you very much.
All right, viewers, thank you so much for calling and for being a part of the show. That's all draw the curtains for today. I am Olamide Alhassan. I'll see you again tomorrow.
And I am Francis Adeniyi. You do have a beautiful day ahead.
Bye.